Hello, so it's me, Connor, and Finley.
Hello,
and
I
we
am
are
Finley.
on day 36 of the GR10 at the moment, so we're going to do a quick review of the mainly of the Groundhog full-length tent stakes. So here they are in all their tent stake glory. Now, our shelters, which are the 6 Moon Design Lunar Solo shelters, which we also have a review about,
use 6 main stakes, which I'm using all groundhogs, and then 2 outer stakes, which I'm using some slightly lighter kind of aluminium shepherd hooks.
Yeah, so we each have 6 groundhogs, and then they're for the 6 main points on the tent. And then I brought with me 2 V-shaped pegs. They're unbranded, wildcountry.co.uk. They were the tent that I bought a long time ago. I just nicked them out of the peg bag. Now, these have failed catastrophically. As in the tops, I don't know whether you can see it that well, are bent over, and this one has banana shape. So these were no good. I sort of knew they were no good, but I brought them because they were the lightest ones we had for the other stakes.
These were the ones that I used for my tie-out guidelines. They're slightly heavier, I think they're 14 grams versus 12 grams of his, and they failed a lot less, but they still haven't done particularly well, considering how heavy they are.
I would never, ever, ever recommend the shepherd hook design.
Shapes. You can't hit them in with a rock.
If you try to hit a shepherd hook in with a rock, it just bananas the peg. Yeah. They're rubbish. No shepherd hooks. What do we think about the groundhogs?
The groundhogs are like super, super tough. We've had some days where we've been smashing them into the ground with massive rocks, and they haven't broken yet. I mean, just some minor wear.
Yeah, so let me come up and give you a close-up of what the groundhogs look like. So these tops, they have rounded out a bit, but they are absolutely rock solid, the groundhogs. Like you can see all of them there. Like, we have hit them into some pretty horrible ground.
Yeah.
We've hit them into...
We haven't treated them particularly nicely,
yeah, I've abused mine. I've hit them into, like, soft ground that then gets really, really hard. Or
straight onto rocks sometimes until you realise
sometimes
it's
into a rock. Yeah, you're hitting it for like 2 minutes and then you're like, oh, it's not going in, maybe there's a rock there. Really abuse them, and I'm gobsmacked by how they are.
Yeah.
I chipped, and I've got this peg in my hand for a reason, because I chipped a little bit. The only damage I've managed to do to them on the whole 36 days of abuse is a little chip out of the end of that peg, which is now totally minor. They are scuffing a bit at the edges.
My pegs are slightly newer than Connor's, and we're pretty sure they've switched to a new material because these rope loops here have really worn, and I've broke 2 of them. That's the only kind of slight...
It may just be that Finley cares for his pegs less,
but
and hits his... I think it might just be that he's hitting the rope with a rock.
I'm not hitting the rock.
But my pieces of rope look new-ish. Finley's look really new.
Yeah, so we're not really sure why.
So, if you want a bulletproof peg that's absolutely massive and
like
very,
can
very
full
strong,
on survive a storm as long as you push it all the way into a ground.
Definitely, the groundhogs are great.
Yeah.
Would I recommend them though?
They're quite heavy.
Ultralight setup, I would not.
Yeah.
For the 2 reasons. One, they're massively overkill. The length on this stake, compare it to a standard stake. Look how much longer that is. I mean, that makes you very happy in a storm, but really, you could get away with a lot less peg, and you would be like absolutely fine most of the time. And when it was like, with a storm, I don't even feel I have to put rocks on these. Yeah. I do, but honestly, they're overkill.
They are. And
on
like
top
sometimes
of that, the V-shaping, they get a load of mud in them. Like most of the time, you end up scraping mud out of the pegs, so that's a design flaw.
Because they have such a large cross-section, it can actually be more difficult to hit them in sometimes than other pegs, which is so annoying.
As a random thing that happened when we were walking along, on one of the days we were staying by a beautiful lake, I found this peg, which I believe is a lightwave flash peg. And I've been using this as a surrogate for one of my groundhogs, and it's just way better. I think it weighs about 7 grams compared to this 16 grams. And it's just so small, you can just get it right. You can nail into the ground easier. I know it sounds silly, even though like I hit it just as hard as the groundhogs. It hasn't bent. Basically, groundhogs are amazing, and I will probably always have at least 1 groundhog for my like the tie-out point, like at the front of my tent, is under a lot more load than any of the other tie-out points.
It has a lot more tension.
So I think I would carry 1 groundhog for that, just because you get that extra length. But for every other guy out, I think in the future I'll be switching to a slightly lighter weight peg.
Yeah.
Also, if these did break, I mean, well, one of Finn's is broken, we'll replace that with a little bit of new cordage.
You just put some new rope in.
gobsmacked by how bomber-proof they are.
They're super strong and super tough, and they hold the tent like rock, but they're just a bit overkill.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
Overkill is how I would describe them. Overbuilt and overkill. If I break one, I'll be very impressed.
So for the sake of completeness, we thought we'd quickly show nailing a groundhog versus nailing a lighter peg. So this ground is actually fairly hard here. I'd put it at, I mean, I don't really have a system for measuring hardness, but it's fairly hard. So you can see,
Big rock hard.
I don't give any love to the nailing in vibes. Just make sure you're not hitting the thing, smash it in. That will take you nowhere. I'd normally do it at an angle if I was hammering in it for my tent, but you know, it would never go anywhere. This, so much smaller. It'd be funny if I bent it in this video after saying I never bent it here. You can see that went in much easier, and in this ground, they're both absolutely rock. The only time when you ever need as much length or width as a groundhog is if the ground was super loose. In ground like this, you know, you can just get them up. And to show how hard that is in the ground, like to get out of the ground, I'm going to really have to pull this to get this out. Like, that took a lot of force to get out of the ground. There we go.